Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I am here with President and founder of Good News Communication, Mr. Doug Martin, here in Tucson, Arizona. He is actively involved in communication in many, many avenues here in Tucson and United States and the world. I say that by faith. But today we want to talk about being involved in the political process. Doug has just been to Washington with the FCC Commissioner, and he is involved politically in many, many areas of that arena. And we need to make sure we get the Christians out in front. And you have something to say along these lines, don't you, Doug?
Well, I do, and thank you, Grant, for having me on. We've known each other for a lot of years.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, back when we used to hang out, I was not involved in politics then. I kind of felt that as a Christian, our responsibility was first to ministry, and I believe it is still first to ministry, and ministering to the lost, ministering to those that have needs, encouraging those in the body. But I didn't feel that the politics or the political scene had any sort of allure for us as Christians, or that we were supposed to be involved in any way. And I really have come to believe that that's wrong. I think when you look at our responsibility in Romans chapter 13, where it talks to submitting to the government, you know, our responsibility in the United States is, as submitting to the government, is to be involved. You know, we have the opportunity here to elect officials. We have the opportunity to participate in our government, and I think it could never be more critical than right now that we do so. So for those Christians that believe, you know, that they shouldn't be involved, that's fine. That's between them and the Lord, and we all have our personal convictions. But I'm seeing more and more Christians believe that they need to be engaged, they need to be active, they need to be involved. They need to find out who they're electing. I mean, most people don't. They did a test last week. They asked people who the Vice President of the United States was. 60% of people didn't know. It was Joe Biden. Most people don't know who their congressman is, they don't know who their senator is, they don't know who their local state legislator is, city council, mayor, and the list goes on and on. So I view this election that we have coming up as being critical. When I was in Washington, I met with Congressman Forbes from Virginia, and he's a strong Christian man. And he said that in the last 2 years, you know, since the new administration has taken over, they've tried to take the name of God off of all the monuments in the Capitol. Wow. And he formed a congressional prayer team. And this is made up of Democrats and Republicans. And they get together every week and pray, and there's over 240 of them that pray together. And that when this happened, they were able to come together and agree in prayer and then take action. And they were able to stop this from happening. They'd actually already started taking in the pictures, they'd taken In God We Trust off the pictures in the Congressional Visitor Center, which it has a big In God We Trust on the top of it. They cropped the pictures to take that off. And they were working to remove every reference to God. Just like you said earlier, we as a nation here, once we quit having that foundation in this country, which we know we're not a quote-unquote Christian nation, you know, we're a secular nation, but it was founded by Christian people. Yes, you know, of those that signed the Declaration of Independence, there were only 4 of them that were not Christians. Most of them had attended seminary, and most of them actually were pastors. So I mean, you know, we have that as our foundation, and once we start stripping that away, and as you said earlier, when we no longer support the nation of Israel, that will be the final death knell for us. So I believe this election is very important. As you know, I'm supporting 2 people here in Arizona who are Christians that are running. They're also part of a new generation. They're both under the age of 30. One of them is Jesse Kelly, and he's a former Marine, and that means a lot to me. My son is a Marine, my youngest son. He just got back from Afghanistan. Every time I run into Jesse, he goes, "How's your son? How's he doing?" And you know, the guy has genuine care and concern. And he's 29 years old. He's sharp as a tack, and he's running against Gabrielle Giffords, who is a traditional left-leaning Democrat. She's voted every time for Nancy Pelosi's things, which I think are leading us to socialism. Like Congressman Forbes said, we've been on an 80-year path towards socialism. And in the last 2 years, we've taken the accelerator and pushed it to the ground. So if we want to continue on that path, continue electing the people that are going to take us down that road to socialism. If If you want to change it, you're going to vote for people and support people like Jesse Kelly and Ruth McClung, District 7 and District 8 here in Arizona. So this is how important I think it is. We need to get off of our couches.
Yes,
we
we
need to
do.
get involved.
Yes.
We need to give money, because
Yes.
it takes money
Yes.
to make these things happen. And I would say, you know, give sacrificially to the candidates that are going to make a difference and who are going to lead us back to becoming a godly nation. That's how important I think it is, Grant.
You know, Doug, you meet with the mayor for years, and with prayer. He is actively involved with businessmen here in the local community. And this is Tucson, Arizona. In Arizona we're talking about. But each one of your local areas, it's important. I mean, that vote, you had a blog out there that you said somebody made it by just 200 votes. I mean, 200 votes was the sway of winning or losing. Your vote is very, very important. And now the two people you're supporting here in Tucson, who are they again?
Well, it's Jesse Kelly for Congress, District 8, and then also Ruth McClung
Jesse
for Congress in District 7.
And that's locally here. So get out and vote. We can turn this tide.
Okay.
We can change it. It's very simple. I mean, it's just like, you know, I'm believing that a person like Sarah Palin will run, and will. I mean, usually unrighteousness will come forward, and then usually God will come in. When the enemy comes in like a flood, he'll raise up a standard. So it's our turn. It's your turn. What are you going to do? So how simple is it that they can get out? How simple is it to get out and vote? What could you tell them, Doug?
Well, I'd say two things, Grant. I mean, first thing is you need to support a candidate. You know, wherever you're at, you could be in another part of the United States or another part of the world. Find out what's going on in your local community. Get involved. Get engaged. It's like when my kids were in public schools. I was on the site councils of every one of their schools so that I could be involved and engaged. And you'd be surprised. You can change the direction of the school. You can change the morals of the school. You know, we even wrote the charter of the school while I was on that site council. So I encourage people to get engaged, find out who's running, support a candidate that believes like you do, and then get people to vote. You and I were talking about how wonderful the internet is and Facebook and some of these other technologies. You need to use those technologies to encourage your friends.
Yes.
Send them information
Yes.
about the candidates. Let them know this candidate believes in pro-life. This one is pro-death. I mean, they need to know what these candidates stand for. Some are actual supporters of socialists. They're Marxists. You know, we need to know who those people are. We need to know who those are that support free enterprise, which is what made our country great. Why is America so much more blessed than other countries here in the Western Hemisphere?
So what do you say when people have a spirit of fear? They're just like afraid. Because you're not afraid, Doug. How come you're not afraid?
Not anymore, but I was. And
What
there was
were
a
you
time
afraid of at one time?
I just wanted to retire. I mean, there's a lot of people I know that they're just like, I don't want to play anymore. I want to just get a cabin up in the mountains and get out of it and keep my family safe. Well, folks, you can't get a compound to protect your family and then neglect the rest of the world. We need to be involved and engaged. So God, the Lord hasn't given us a spirit of fear, but a power and a love and a sound mind. We need to believe in that and trust in the Lord to give us that strength.
Your vote counts and makes a difference. And remember, this is Grant here with Doug Martin here in Tucson, Arizona, saying we love you, and we'll see you soon.